Body make 'em.
Body make 'em.
And greetings. Welcome from the Order of Islam of the North Gate, Temple Number 1, Louisiana State Territory. Today we'll be doing a brief demonstration on the basic structure of the Zodiac, as well as the basic esoteric symbolism behind it. However, we'll begin with the Clock of Destiny preamble that'll be read by our senior mufti, Brother Adrel Lewis Bey, Islam.
Body make 'em.
Body make 'em.
We, the members of the Moorish Constitutional National Order of the Great Seal, must promote organized effort in the category of all legal business enterprises such as chain stores of necessity, human consumption, housing and building programs, agriculture, printing, literature, home and group education, and the Moorish science of the Zodiac involving the character, sociology, economics, commerce, the science of good government. We, the Moorish Americans, members of the National Constitutional Order of the Great Seal, and also the European Americans of the White People, Union Society of the 48 States, equally depend upon one another for economic security and progress and peace.
Body make 'em.
Body make 'em.
Article 1 of the Zodiac Constitution. The 12 signs of the Zodiac and the code of mathematics scaling from 0 to 9, and the science of geometry, G, comprise the constitution of the living Moorish nation of North America, referred to as Negro, who ruled the world and the 7 seas by the 12 signs of the Zodiac and the sciences of geometry, G. For 1196 years, to the Amazon Dutch German Catholic priesthood, fathers of the Revolution of 1789 and the Sisterhood Magna Charta, Emancipation Proclamation, Union Society of White Supremacy in 1863, North America. The 12 Germans of the 48 Union State Society, and also the 9 supreme judges of their supreme courts, were founded upon the Moorish nation's 12 signs of the Zodiac Constitution and mathematics scaling from 0 to 9. Thus, without our Moorish Constitution, the Magna Charta, Emancipation Proclamation, Union Society of the myth of white supremacy definitely could not have been founded in 1863.
And now we'll move forward with group personalities. You have two distinctions. You have the outer personality or the outer self, what everyone sees, and you have the inner personality or the inner self. It's who you really are when you're by yourself, when no one's looking. Personality gained from experiences. All right? And this is the life events which shape our personality, how our life unfolds. And this is relative to the ascendant, meaning our ascendant sign. And the ascendant sign is who we are becoming. That's what that's symbolic of, who we are becoming. The chart ruler gives a more detailed look into the ascendant sign. Let's say the ascendant sign was Aries. The ruling planet for Aries would be Mars. So, looking at the chart ruler, which would be Mars in this case, would give us a more defined look into how our life is to unfold. With that planet being Mars in Aries. There are only two ends to a pole. Thus, the North Pole is east, which is always up during the Earth's annual revolution of 360 degrees, and the South Pole is always down, during the Earth's annual revolution of 360 degrees, all of which equal a geographical span of 21,600 miles. 360 degrees multiplied by 60 equals 21,600 miles. 10,800 miles in the northern hemisphere, 180 degrees, and 10,800 miles in the southern hemisphere, 180 degrees. For accuracy, multiply the degrees by 60. Universal symbols of the zodiac. First we begin with being. This is the circle. It has no beginning and no end. It is the all of everything. Then we have the dot, the thought, the spark of life, or the monad. Then we have substance or matter, which is composed of desire and feeling. Okay? And this is the material expression of the first two. Right? And here we have the circle with the dot in the center, which is symbolic of the soul moving over the waters of chaos or life experience. We have the square here. And the square would be the perfect foundation. And it's the perfect foundation because it's equal on all four parts at 90 degrees each, and which would be 360 degrees. And it provides a firm foundation. The triangle would be the perfect shape. Reason being, it is symbolic of the mother, the father, the offspring, as well as the spirit, the soul, and the manifestation. The essence of the spirit moving over the waters of the deep in order to gain experience through substance. And that's what this is symbolic of. The waters of the deep, the monad, or the essence, moving over and connecting through life experiences. Okay? Each degree is a day. Each day or degree is a sign. Let's say we begin at 1 degree in Aries. Okay? That would be Aries. The second degree would be Taurus. The third, Gemini. Fourth, Cancer. Fifth degree, and so on and so forth. Once you get to Pisces, which is the 12th, you begin over with 13 with Aries. You begin over. Right? So each one of those would actually be a sign. The Earth rotates 1 degree every 4 minutes, equaling a geographical span of 60 miles, or 15 degrees, equaling 1 hour, or 900 miles. Right? And so, also, 1 degree, or every degree, would be 4 minutes. Right? So, there are going to be altogether 30 degrees in this here. So 30 degrees times 60, that would give you your 2 hours, as well as a geographical span of 1,800 miles. Islam? Mathematics in the zodiac. The Earth's axis to its orbit evolves about the sun at a rate of 1 degree per day and 30 degrees a month. It completes its annual revolution of 360 degrees every year on March the 20th in the 12th sign, Pisces. Thus, the rays of the sun pass through 12 different regions of the earth called signs in the course of 1 year, calculated from the sign Aries to the sign Pisces. Ten into 360 degrees equal 36 times. This division represents the 36 inches of the yard of the measurement of material and geographical space. 3 times 12 equals 36, which reduces to the number 9 as 3 and 6 equals 9. The number 10 represents the manifestation of negative and positive forces of nature. No tenths and 1 or 1/10. 1 from 10 equals 9. And also would like to add that negative and positive, or that material, that's also symbolic of the 10, completion. You know, the number of manifestation. All right, so regions. Here we have the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. All right, and then the the northern hemisphere, beginning at Aries, that will put us in the geographical span where the sun would shed his rays in Java, India, and Taurus in Japan, and California would be in Gemini, and so on and so forth, all the way to New York and Virginia, you know, and that would be considered also as the land of Nod or Anode. Okay? Elohim. Elohim, or the planets, the 7 creative spirits which created everything that ever was, is, and evermore to be. The sun harnesses the frequencies of the 7 closest planets and reflects the waves and vibrations upon the earth in the form of colors, to numbers, to symbols, and later to words. So multi be. Islam? So, as you can see, the sun pulls in the vibrations and frequencies of the 7 closest planets to it and reflects it back to earth. And that's why we have 7 days. We have 7 primary colors. We have 7 liberal arts, several musical notes, 7 layers of consciousness, 7 chakras, and so on and so forth. All because of those 7 energies. The 2 furthest away, which would be Pluto and Neptune, has a subtle effect. And it's so subtle till it's almost unnoticeable. And that's why those 2 planets are often associated with the afterlife. Islam?
Wow.
The 3 symbols that create planetary glyphs. Okay? So you have the spirit, which would be the circle, as you see here. You have the soul, which would be the crescent. And by the way, what? It's a waxing. It's a waxing because that way it would be a winding. And then you have matter or material. And then you have the planetary statuses. And you keep these the planetary glyphs, while keeping these 3 shapes in mind. Because each planetary glyph is composed of 1 or more of these symbols. And we'll begin with Venus. You have the spirit, and you have matter. And this signifies matter working its way into spirit in order to beautify or become more compassionate and sympathetic. Islam?
Wow.
Next we have Mars. We have the spirit forcing its way into a part of material or matter. Okay? Projecting itself, the spirit, into matter. Then we have Mercury, right? And here we have material, spirit, and we have the soul. And this also can be compared also with the earlier notes, the outer self and the inner self. And you can also see the cup or bowl, meaning it's ready to receive and bear those emotions and so on and so forth. All right? So we have the material with the spirit and the inside or in between the soul, right? So it's balance between the material world. The spirit is balancing in between the material world and the soul plane or the mental world, in which that's how Mercury, as the messenger, is able to transmit knowledge from the earth to the spirit plane and back and forth, so well. And it's also called, Mercury is considered as the messenger of the gods. Next we have Saturn. And as you can see, we have the crescent. It's the inner self, the soul, working its way diligently through the material, attempting to manifest through the material. And as you can see, the material is on top, so it's having challenges working its way through the material plane. And that's what provides structure and discipline that comes with the planet Saturn. And also note that Saturn has a ring, and which is symbolic of you may go through a little hardship, but as long as you persevere and you keep going, once you penetrate that ring, you'll find yourself behind a bigger ring, because Saturn is definitely the schoolmaster. So you'll learn and master what's inside that ring just to be released into a bigger ring so that you may understand what's in that bigger ring. Islam? Now you have Jupiter. Alright? So, once again, we have the soul, or the inner, and it's above the material. Okay? So, the mental or the soul lesson is more or less understood in this demonstration because it sits above the material. Right? So that's why Jupiter would be considered the bestower of gifts, the planet of growth and expansion. Right? Because it's definitely mind over matter, as you can see. Pun intended. Okay. Now we have the planet Uranus. And here we have the spirit moving up through the material and the two minds. The higher mind, lower mind, or you have the waning or the waxing and the waning moons. Right? So the spirit manifesting itself through the material is being governed and guided by the two minds. And that's why you can't really pull off too much, you can't sell too many wooden nickels to an Aquarius. Because they know, they know what's the real, more or less. Because they think about all of this naturally. In fact, Uranus is also a higher octave of Mercury. Right? And Mercury, we all know that's the messenger of the gods. That's communication and fast learning, impulse, so on and so forth. So Uranus would definitely be a higher octave of Mercury as well. Now we have Neptune. Once again, at the bottom, we have the material working its way up through the inner, the mind, the soul. Okay? However, by the inner mind or the soul being on top, the lesson is understood and is not being controlled by the material. However, the material is working through the mind. And that's why it would be easy to conceive. That's why, your Pisceans are so radical, and they deal with self-undoing, and they don't hold any care of the material world because they know it's an illusion anyway. Okay? However, also, it's projecting the energy from both ways, from the material as well as the mental realm. Okay, and last but not least, we have Pluto. Alright, and here we are again. We have the material with the mental or the inner, the soul, and the spiritual or the spirit on top. The mental consoles and cuffs the spirit, so that shows the connection and its embrace, everything is in line, with the material working its way up. In order, the material is connected to the mental, and the mental is upholding the spiritual. So everything is in line, and that's also why Pluto deals with the afterlife, and legacy, and so on and so forth. And so I believe that's all for the signs. And I hope that has brought a bit more clarity to you all as far as your basic concepts. And I'll end with this. Vademecum. Knowledge of the zodiac involving woman, children, moon, sun, earth, or earth might therefore be termed clock of destiny. The great span of one's active life lies between woman and earth, from birth to disintegration, referred to as death. All children come into the world by way of woman and pass out by way of earth. Do you agree? Vademecum, Morse. And this shall conclude the brief demonstration on the basic foundation of the structure and symbols of the zodiac. This has been brought to you by the Order of Islam of the North Gate, Temple Number 1, Louisiana State. I am Supreme Magistrate King Sandia Muriel, and I would like to bid you a farewell, and I desire you wealth, health, and peace. Mayum.